Love or Money, Chapter 4. The police arrived very quickly. There were a lot of them. Some of them with cameras went upstairs to Molly's room. Two detectives talked to Dr. Brown in the kitchen. The family waited in the sitting room. It was a hot day again and the windows were open. The dog sat quietly at Diane's feet. Nobody talked. Jackie smoked. They waited for a long time. Suddenly, the door opened and the two detectives came in. "Good morning. I am Detective Inspector Walsh and this is Sergeant Forster." The inspector did not smile. He was a big man in an old black suit and a black hat and coat. He was a cold because he always felt cold. "Last night, someone put sleeping tablets in Mrs. Clarkson's hot milk. We are going to question everybody, and we need a room, please." Roger stood up. "I'm Roger Clarkson. You can have my father's old office. Come with me. It's a long tear." The office was not a very big room, but there was a table and 3 or 4 chairs. Roger opened a window. "I would like to talk first to your uncle, Albert King," Inspector Walsh said. He took off his hat and coat and sat down behind the table. "Of course," said Roger and left the room. Sergeant Forster waited by the door. He was a very tall young man with black hair and a nice smile. He was not very happy this morning because he usually played tennis on Sunday mornings. He was one of the best players at the Cambridge Tennis Club. Albert came in and sat down. "I'm going to ask some questions, Mr. King," the inspector said, "and Sergeant Forster is going to write it all down." Albert looked at his feet. Yes, it's your job, I know that." "Tell me about last night," Inspector Walsh asked quietly. "You were angry with Mrs. Clarkson." Albert looked at Inspector Walsh for the first time. "Yes, I was. Everyone were angry. Roger were angry. Diane wanted money to go to America. And there's a man called Tom Briggs. He won half the garden for his farm. Molly was a rich woman. I need money because my wife Annie, Molly's sister, is very ill. I told Molly this." "What happens next?" "Well, Molly were angry with everyone and went upstairs. We went into the kitchen for coffee. Jackie wanted everyone to go up and say goodnight to Molly. She lives here with Molly, so she wanted Molly to be happy. At first, Roger said no. He was angry and didn't want to see his mother." "And did you see Molly in her room?" "Yes. I was tired and I went upstairs first. I went to Molly's room and asked her for money again. But no, there was no money for her sister." Albert stopped and put his hand over his eyes. Inspector Walsh watched Albert for a minute. "Did you hear noises after you went to bed?" "Everyone went into Molly's room and said goodnight, I think. Later, I heard someone. He or she went downstairs. That was about midnight." "Very well, Mr. King. Thank you. You can go now." Albert left the room. Inspector Walsh put his hands behind his head. "What time is it? I'm hungry. We're learning a lot, but I need some coffee." "Shall I go to the kitchen?" Sergeant Forster asked. "Oh no, later. Let's see Jackie Clarkson next." Jackie came in and sat down. She looked down at her hands and said nothing. "We found the empty bottle of your mother's sleeping tablets in Diane's room," the inspector said suddenly. Then he waited. Jackie's face did not change, and she said nothing. "Tell me, did your mother get her tablets from the shop in the village?" "Yes. My mother usually took her sleeping tablets every night, so she needed a lot of tablets. Sometimes she got them from the shop. Sometimes I did. On Thursday, I asked Peter Hobbs to get them. He lives in the house across the road, and he often goes to the village on his bicycle." I see, your mother wanted to stay in his house. How about you? Did you want to move? Jackie looked up for a minute and then down at her hands again. This is mother's house. I loved my mother. She was good to me. Did you see your mother in her room last night? Yes, everyone did. Diane made hot milk and took it to mother. She usually drank a cup of hot milk before she slept. Inspector Ward put his hands behind his head. Jackie was very quiet. What did your mother say? Jackie opened her bag and looked for a cigarette. Can I smoke? Of course, this is your house, Inspector Ward said. He watched Jackie. What did your mother say? He asked again. She wanted to go downstairs again. She remembered the dogs. She wanted to get some dinner for them. I went to my room and she went downstairs. What time was this? I don't remember. About midnight, I think. And a cup of hot milk? It was on the table by her bed. Do you need your mother money? No, Inspector. Money is not important to me. There are more important things, Jackie said quietly. Well, your Uncle Albert wanted money. Tom Briggs wanted the garden. You wanted nothing. Jackie finished her cigarette and looked up at the inspector. Her eyes were suddenly angry. Don't forget Peter Hobbs. He lost his job because of my mother. He wanted to kill her, you know. And what about Diane? You found the empty bottle in her bag. Inspector Walls listened carefully. We're going to question everyone, Miss Clarkson. Jackie said nothing for a minute. Would you like some sandwiches and coffee, Inspector? Ah, yes, please, Inspector Walls said warmly. I would like sandwiches and coffee very much. Jackie left the room. Inspector Walls thought about her. Why was she suddenly angry? The room was quiet. Chapter 5. After the coffee and sandwiches, Inspector Walls called Roger Clarkson to the office. Roger came in and sat down. The inspector began at once. Now, Mr. Clarkson, why was your mother angry with you last night? This house is very big, Roger said. It was a lot of work for mother. I wanted her to move, but no, she loves this house and garden. She didn't want to move. Tell me about your job, Mr. Clarkson. Your mother is dead and now you're rich. Do you need money? Roger's face was suddenly afraid. What are you saying? I didn't kill my mother. I need money, that's true. A friend and I want to build 10 houses here in this garden. We can get a lot of money for them. So I wanted mother to sell this house. It's true. But Mr. Briggs wanted half the garden too, you know, for his farm. Inspector Ward moved the pencil on the table. Tell me, what happened upstairs? You went to your mother's room? Yes, I did. I wanted to say good night to my mother. Did you talk about the house again? Yes, I did. Again, she said no. She loved the house and didn't want to sell it. Inspector Ward watched Rogers for a minute. I see. We found the empty bottle of sleeping tablets, Mr. Clarkson, in Diane's room. Roger's face did not change. Oh, someone put them there. Diane did not kill my mother, I know that. She found the body. Very well. I would like to see Diane next. Roger got up and left the room. Inspector Ward stood up and put his hands in his pockets. He went to the window and looked out at the trees. Why was Roger Clarkson afraid? Was it important? He looked at Sergeant Forster. Tomorrow morning, go to Mr. Clarkson's office. You have the name, he said. Ask some questions about him, about his job, friends, money. Sergeant Forster wrote it down. Yes, Inspector. A good day for tennis, Sergeant. Sergeant Forster laughed. Don't say that, it's not easy, you know. I don't like sitting here looking at the sun. Diane came into the room and sat down. She looked at Sergeant Forster and smiled. I saw you at the tennis club last month, I think. You play very well. Sergeant Forster's face went red. Inspector Ward looked at him. Oh yes, a fast and exciting player is Sergeant Forster. Diane smiled again at Sergeant Forster and his face went redder. Well, Miss Clarkson, Inspector Ward said, I want you to talk about last night. Diane stopped smiling. Oh, I can talk about last night. I can stop talking about it. We were all angry. Mother went to bed early and I made hot milk for her. We were alone in the kitchen and Peter Hobbs came in. He nearly broke the back door down, Diane stopped. Yes? He was very angry about the letter. He wanted to kill Mother. Are you going to talk to him? We're going to talk to everyone. Good. Tom Briggs came into the kitchen too. Are you going to talk to him? I'm asking the questions, Miss Clarkson. When did you take the milk upstairs? I went up after Roger. She stopped for a minute. Then she began again. I didn't like my mother, Inspector. She killed my father, you know. Last winter after Christmas, she drove the car into the tree and killed my father. Inspector Ward watched Diane's face carefully. I see. So you wanted to kill your mother? Diane laughed. I wanted to kill her, but I didn't. I can tell you a lot of things about this family, Inspector. Everyone wanted Mother to die. Uncle Albert wanted her money for his wife, Annie. And then my brother. He needed a lot of money. He has an expensive house and an expensive car. And think of Jackie. Do you know that Jackie didn't like my mother? A long time ago, a night boy worked here. He was a gardener. Jackie loved him very much and Mother said no. A gardener was not a good husband for a Clarkson girl. Inspector Ward listened quietly. All this was very interesting, but was it important? Perhaps. What a happy family the Clarksons were. We found the empty bottle of sleeping tablets in your room, Inspector Ward said quietly. He watched her face carefully. Diane stood up suddenly, her face angry. What? I didn't put it there. I'm not going to listen to this. She ran out of the room. Well, Inspector Ward said. She lies you, Sergeant. You need to be careful. Sergeant Forster laughed, but his face went red again. Someone put sleeping tablets in Molly's hot milk, the inspector said. All the family were in the kitchen last night. Peter Hobbs and Tom Briggs were there, too. One of them killed Molly. Inspector Ward got his hat and coat. Come on, we need to talk to Peter Hobbs and Tom Briggs. Let's get some more coffee first. I like a sandwich too. I'm hungry again.